Hi, my name is Judy Ellen Moore, and I'm a freelance editor with Black Wolf Editorial Services. Over the course of a variety of different videos, I've been showing you how to use Scrivener to your full advantage. For those of you who may recall, we are using Jules Verne's The Journey to the Interior of the Earth as the manuscript for these videos. Today, we're going to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to play with the editor of our Scrivener window. Now the editor itself is this main window here where you might be entering in your precious manuscript. Not everybody likes to be staring all day at Times New Roman 12 point, but hey, there are a variety of different things that you can do within the Scrivener window to customize the Scrivener experience for yourselves, and it's not going to affect what outputs you get from Scrivener. So let's go and have some fun. Just as a reminder, I do have a Windows system, so I'm using the Windows-based Scrivener. There are some minor differences between the Mac version and the Windows version, but for the most part, they're the same. When there are some differences, I will ensure that there is a video for the Mac version so Mac users know exactly what it is they're going to be looking at. In the meantime, let's have some fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the Tools, and we're going to bring down Options. Now, there are a variety of different things that you can customize for the Scrivener system that will allow you to change your environment, and so it works well for you. We're going to look at the editor. The editor, as I said, is where you're going to be entering into your story. Not everybody likes Times New Roman 12 point, so let's just play and pick something just random and completely off the wall. One of the really funky fonts that is in my system is Jokerman. So let's change it to Jokerman just because we can. And to make it even more fun, let's change it up to 18 point. Again, just because we can. Now, I don't know how many writers are actually going to want to use this, but hey, you never know. The proof of the pudding is that we can actually change this, and it's not going to affect our output. While we're at it, we're going to change the paragraph settings. So if we come to this drop-down menu here and we click on More, you can change your indentations. We have the standard at the moment, which is a 1/2 inch or 1.27 centimeters. Yes, I have my settings set to centimeters and not inches, but don't worry, that is one of the settings in Scrivener. But why not change it, just because we can, to use a 3 centimeter left indentation? And while we're at it, just because we can, let's change the number of points after each paragraph to, I don't know, say 10 points, just because we can. Now, if you take a look, that is really funky looking. I don't know who would ever want to write with us, but hey, why not? Just because we can. So if we click Apply, now you will see that it hasn't changed in here as of yet. At the moment, this is only set up for any new documents that we might add. Let me just show you how this works. If we right-hand click and go Add, New Text, it comes down to the bottom, and I'm just going to put Text. There's our new random. Very funky, very cool. But we're not going to keep it because we really don't want that with our manuscript, so that's fine. Now, we're going to pick the professor and his family as the chapter that we're playing around with. We want to apply it to this. We're going to make sure that the editor has been activated, and that if you have an active editor, you will have the blinking cursor somewhere within that window. Now we can apply those fonts. We go Documents, Current, Formatting to Default Text Style. We have various different options. We can convert only the font, and we can preserve the size if we want, but we're going to apply it right across the board just because we can. Now that's pretty funky, pretty cool. Now to prove to you that this is not going to change what happens within our compile, remember this is the chapter that's called Professor and His Family. So we're going to go Compile. In the previous videos, we had changed some of the default settings that we had within this, and we created a custom Scrivener output, Scrivener demo. And this was, if you remember rightly, we took the standard manuscript formatting template that comes with Scrivener, and we had changed the fonts that it outputs to Times New Roman, but we had also changed its structure such that it could produce a preface, but without giving it a Chapter 1 titling. So we'll compile that, and we will call it Jules Verne, like we have in everything else we have done. We are not going to overwrite that file because that file is the original one that we imported from back in the first video. I'm going to save, and it's created that file, and I will open it now. Now, if you remember, in the files that we were creating, we have a custom title page with fields that were being created at the time of compile. This was one of them, the word counts, as well as the title of the manuscript and, of course, the author. These ones were actually inputted into the actual file that was there, and we had to change those ones manually. We come down, we have our preface without the Chapter 1 setting, we have our header information with Verne, and of course the title of the manuscript and page number, but we continue to scroll down. We were playing around with the professor and his family. And take a look at that. It hasn't changed. Now, we have done some really funky things, but we're going to do even more funky things just because we can. We're going to play around with things like smart quotes and straight quotes. At the moment, the system is compiling in straight quotes format. So we're going to close that for the moment. And we are just going to go and have some play. So we're going to go back to Tools and Options. And under Corrections is where you'll find the information about smart quotes. Your smart quotes, you can have lots of fun with them. And those are your standard ones, but let's just go and change them to some really, really funky looking ones. There's these angled ones that are down here at the bottom. Why you would ever want to use them, I've got no clue. But why not? We can have fun. So let's do this. And we'll go OK. Now, it hasn't applied it yet, but what we can do is if we, again, make sure that the editor window is activated and that we know that this is active because of the blinking cursor, and we go Format, Convert, and here it is, Convert to Smart Quotes. And take a look at what's happened. We've got some really funky looking things. Even this apostrophe S has been converted. Now, what is this going to do to our compile? So we will compile again. Again, we're at the Scrivener demo. And we will go compile. We're going to replace the Jules Verne document. Yes, replace that. Okay, we're going to open up the Jules Verne document again. See, Jules Verne. Scroll down to where we were at. And take a look. It hasn't done anything. Now, we are going to sit down and we are going to really have some fun. Close that again. Under the compile options, if you go to transformations, you will see these three at the top. The top one says straighten smart quotes. If we turn that off, we can see what will really happen with the smart quotes. Some people actually like smart quotes in their manuscripts. Personally, I don't. But hey, let's have some fun. So if we go compile, and again, we're going to replace that Jules Verne document. Open up the Jules Verne document. Scroll down to where we were. Take a look. We have some really funky looking smart quotes going on, people. Now we can change this to the standard smart quotes quite simply. And I'll show you how to do that. So if we go back to our tools and go to options, and we want to go to corrections again, we're going to change it back to the traditional form of smart quotes, which is normally the top one at the menu. And we go OK. And we're going to apply those. So we go Format, Convert, Quotes to Smart Quotes. And if you take a look, we have changed it here in our editor. And we're going to compile. Again, making sure that we are doing smart quotes. We're not straightening them. We go compile. We'll replace the Jules Verne document again. Open it up. scroll down, and take a look at that. We now have, now I'll zoom in here to make it a bit easier. We now have the proper smart quotes. So it's really simple within Scrivener to change between one to the other if you are wanting smart quotes or not. You don't have to manually go and do things within Word. As a matter of habit, on my compile settings, I always straighten my smart quotes. The reason why I do that is because sometimes it slips through and I do have a smart quote, but I also have a straight quote sitting in my documents. But nice and simple, if you want to change between them on any document, you just come to this format, convert, and convert to straight quotes. Nice and simple. Really fun, funky. You don't have to rely on what is ever there, and it's not going to change your compile setting. Over the course of the next few videos, I'm going to show you a few more things to customize on Scrivener. Hope you have fun with this one. See you next time.